And welcome to part 5 of, or part 6 of Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle 2. And, today right here what we're doing is we're taking on some of the toughest stages in this game. And we're starting with what might actually be the toughest, depending on who you ask, and that's stage 22. And in stage 22, what's really going to be the biggest issue is that there are a lot of cheaply placed enemies, including one of the mice you have to let out. But yeah, the biggest problem with this stage is that you're going to have to be moving a lot, and also, because of the way certain enemies are placed, you're going to have to use your bombs at certain spots, as opposed to, you know, saving them for emergencies. And right here, you have to be busy with a hammer. You have to get that one early, as you saw earlier. But right now, what I'm doing is just setting a little trap for our mouse friend. It's actually not that, or it doesn't really work that well, as you'll see. But yeah, I am back from my week-long hiatus. Things went pretty well over there, and actually might have to delay Crazy Castle 3 depending on what happens. But I'll probably just post a video on that or something, just to tell you guys what's up. And speaking of which, I'd also like to thank the Old World Gamer and Blind Man's World for some of their kind comments over the last week. I mean, I was out of town, but I was still able to watch some of their videos. And I did enjoy Blind Man's World early Chrono Trigger videos. And that's a series that's a game that really never gets old watching for me. But anyway, what we're doing now is just breaking a bunch of blocks, trying to carefully set a trap here. Not really sure why, because I could just go up here to get another key. Getting the keys in this stage actually really isn't that tough. The toughest thing you do have to deal with is that some of the enemy placement is very cheap, and that's going to be what gets you killed. And also, since this is a very long level, starting over is often going to be very frustrating for people. And yeah, that was one of the things that did worry me about this series, or about this game in particular, is that because the levels are so long, certain parts were just going to be very big compared to other ones. And I think I did space this out pretty well with 4 levels per day, and obviously the first one being 5 levels. But as you'll see, this part is actually very long, and I actually didn't even die once during this part, but because of the way some of the levels are set up, that you do have to run away from certain enemies a lot, and also these levels are the longest in the game. Actually, wait, I shouldn't say that. I think 27 and 28 might be the longest, but you'll see those pretty soon. What you'll need to do is take these up panels and use the ropes wisely. And right here I get kind of nervous with that Yosemite Sam. That is one thing that is gonna, and that's one of the things I mentioned, or I should mention, when it comes to the cheaply placed enemies, is that sometimes they'll just sneak up on you when you least expect it. And since that other Yosemite Sam at the top won't move, I can't get up there. So instead, I am just going to need to do whatever until they decide to start moving. Not really sure why. But that takes pretty good timing. And I am going to have to use a bomb to take out Yosemite Sam here. Not really sure why I couldn't have just bombed him when he was further off to the left. But here I'm actually going to try and bait him out to the right. And what needs to happen here is that I had to use the door to my advantage. As you remember, when you enter a door, the enemies freeze for a few seconds, and you need to use that to your advantage, as I've gone over several times. There's number 6, and this is actually normally the part where people start getting tripped up. And the reason for that is there's some really cheaply placed ghosts as well as Yosemite Sams. And we actually got past a few of the cheaply placed Yosemite Sams, and that's actually where most people start dying. And because you have to start over every time you die, there's no checkpoints. This level actually is very difficult to finish, only because of like how frustrating it can be to certain people. And Obviously, if you're not a patient person, this game isn't for you. And that's just the thing with a puzzle game. Fortunately, I'm able to stack up on bombs, and fortunately that shield made things a lot easier. So I can get through that ghost okay. And that's another enemy that could sneak up on you when you're using the up panel. And as you can see, I'm going to need to save a bomb for the end. And you'll see with that coyote running around causing trouble. And that's actually a really big dick move on the programmer's part. I mean, they go through this whole level only to find out that they don't have a bomb. And then the coyote kills them anyway, and then they have to start the whole thing over. And that would just be really frustrating. I'm pretty sure that's actually happened to me before when I was a kid. I mean, that's when I played it the most, was when I was in my preteens, and yeah, I mean, most of my memories actually involved playing this on a Super Game Boy, where you can, you know, connect the, or where they had a Game Boy player and a Super Nintendo, and you could actually play Game Boy games off of that. I actually had a lot of fun with that when I was little. But right here we have all the keys, and we have an extra bomb, which is always good. And right here you have to hammer out the blocks. I think this is a little bit tedious. I think they kind of overdid it here with all these blocks, because you have to go through the specific fake floors in order to get to all the blocks, in order to get to the warp you need to finish the level. And just in case you missed any keys, there's a way out. And this is what I was talking about with the coyote at the end. But with that, we are done with what might be the toughest stage in the game. Now for stage 23. Stage 23 actually starts you off at the exit. And this is actually going to be another tough one, because you're going to be... first you're starting off getting chased by these bulldogs, and the biggest problem with that is they can gang up on you and they can surround you. So getting that arrow is actually pretty important, because that's just your, I guess, get out of jail card, just in case you need it. Also, the thing with this stage is, what makes it so tough is that there are so many enemies in this stage. The biggest thing is, because of the Tweeties and Sylvesters, they obviously can't climb ladders or go through warps or go through pipes or anything, so they're stuck to that one plane, so you do have to deal with them wherever you see them. And the biggest thing with this stage is, because there are so many enemies, especially the bulldogs on one side, and then I think there are a bunch of Tasmanian devils on the other side of this level. But because of those things, you have to be constantly moving in this stage, because if you end up getting caught standing still for too long, then eventually some of those bulldogs or Tasmanian devils or Tweety or Sylvester, any of them, will eventually catch up to you, and you'll end up getting yourself killed. And this is one other stage where you do have to circle back in order to reach the end, as you may or may not have seen. And right here I'm just kind of worried about what this bulldog might do. Instead he's just walking around like a... I don't know. As he's just designed to be random today. So at this point I just say screw it and just leave. Or not. And also the biggest thing is, because there are not the biggest thing, but one other thing is that because there are no pipes, it's actually all ladders. Going through these sections is actually very difficult to do, because obviously you can't have any cheap way out or ways out. And the thing with a ladder is, yeah, it's quicker, but there's no cheap way out, depending on what you need or what you don't need. And right here, Tweety's giving me all kinds of fits. I don't know why I didn't kill it. But I didn't kill him because I wanted to get more arrows, so that I don't use them. I should probably just kill that bulldog anyway. No, instead I'm just gonna freeze him. Yeah, see, I actually finished recording this before I left, so some of the, I guess, footage is kind of rusty to me. I mean, I remember that I don't really die in this part at all, and the fact that it's still 27 minutes long just shows how long these levels are, and how difficult they can be. But here you need to use the shield to your advantage because there are a ton of enemies here, including Sylvesters, Tasmanian Devils, and Bulldogs. Fortunately, though, the game does give you quite a few shields to work with, as well as a clock. So just in case you need it, you can freeze enemies, or you can use shields, or you can just kill them with a potion, as you will see soon. And right here I just need to freeze enemies and just get the hell away. The placement of the keys is also one thing that's going to make this stage very difficult, and that's you're going to have to do a lot of exploring just to get to the keys. And it is also very easy to get ambushed by enemies here, since there are so many of them. And this is also one thing that does make this stage pretty frustrating to complete, especially if you keep dying in the second half of the stage. And right here is just a, I guess, strangely placed treasure chest or trunk that I can't do anything with. So instead I'm just gonna get more keys and then just go up. And right here I need to find that Sylvester and get him out. But not before collecting an extra life. Yeah, that Sylvester should be there. Fortunately, he decided to cooperate instead of just doing whatever he wanted and just letting Taz catch up to me. Now, we will be dealing with plenty more Tasmanian Devils. Yeah, I think it's a 27 that's actually the worst with Tasmanian Devils, but you will see that when the time comes. And by that I mean probably sometime this week. And right here, I'm just waiting until I can just use the potion and just kill whoever I can. The tricky thing with this stage is that the warp is actually pretty deceiving. And the reason for that is because the warp, you really can't do much with it. It's just an easy way, I guess, to find or get to another side of the stage. But the problem is, if you take the warp back, there's probably going to be a Bulldog or a Tasmanian Devil on your ass, and that's going to cause more trouble than it solves. But anyway, here's more exploring. And as I've said before, the tricky thing about this stage is that you're going to have to go way out of your way to find these keys. And right here, it might actually be the hardest part, and that's just getting to the exit once you have all 8 keys. And the way you do that is you have to circle back and not take the warp like I did here. And now watch me almost get myself killed. Fortunately, that did not happen though. Right here I realized that I'm actually wrong in taking this warp. Fortunately, they decided, or they didn't quite catch on as soon, and that Bulldog decided to take the ladder, or decides to show up. But fortunately, that's what I had my arrows for. So let's try that again. Instead, you need to break this block. And just make sure you do have your arrows handy, because you never know when an enemy's going to sneak up on you. And that's one thing that is going to make this stage extremely difficult, as I've said before, is that since there are a ton of enemies, you're not going to have enough arrows to work with. So you do really need to do whatever you can and just keep moving just to get around them. That helps though. You get an invincibility potion just near the end. So I will just take out everyone I can. And right here I just need to run all the way to the exit. Fortunately, all you have to do is just take this ladder up, break the block, and just get in the door. Thank you. So, on to stage 24. Where stage 24 is going to be a lot like, I think it was stage... well, I forget what the name was, and that's, Where this one's going to have a lot of exploring, where you're going to have to fall through floors, you're going to have to go up and down pipes, and you're going to have to take a lot of tight ropes in order to get to all the keys. And as I've said before, most of the keys are going to be in the most obscure, difficult to reach places. And I mean, since we are in the last stages of this game, I guess they decided to throw everything at you at once. Also, the difficult thing about this game is not that finding enemies is going to be that tough. It's when the enemies get the jump on you and surprise you is when you're going to be in trouble. And, yeah, I didn't get the hammer yet, so this didn't really go well for me. The, biggest thing is you're going to have to drop down a few, spots in order to get to one of the keys. And right there, remember to, fall wherever the torch is. That's the easy way to figure out where the key is. And same thing here. Except you're getting a bow and arrow. And right here, these, one of them, or the middle one, has the hammer, but the point of these 3 doors is to help slow down the mice, because, let's see, I think it's just a bunch of mice that are going to be your enemies in this stage. And the worst thing about taking the pipes is, yeah, it does take a long time, as you will see. But also, the worst thing with taking the pipes is you never know when another enemy's going to be in that pipe. And, see right here, I'm just about to get myself killed. But, fortunately, I actually end up beating him out of the pipe, somehow. So I just had to get the hell away before this guy kills me. And, right here, I'm not really thinking about anything other than just getting the hell away from that guy. Because this stage does take a long time to complete, just like the other ones. And, see right here, I'm just trying to make sure it's safe. And I actually stumble onto another key. How about that? But yeah, the biggest thing with this stage is that you really have to just be prepared and react to whatever you can, because enemies surprising you is going to be the biggest problem in this stage. It's actually not really as bad compared to like getting lost or having to do a lot of exploring to get the keys. It's just having to find, I guess, the toughest to reach doors and just getting to the right spot in order to get the keys. And right here is just more nothingness. So you do have to use your eyes well to be able to distinguish the fake floors from before, and if you were playing this on a Game Boy, that might actually be pretty tough. I actually haven't played this on Game Boy in a while, so I don't really remember. But here you need to break a block in order to drop down and get to another key. That's one thing you're going to have to be doing a lot, is breaking blocks in order to drop down and get keys, or to break blocks that block an up panel in order to find another key. And you'll see that pretty soon. But right now, this stage does emphasize a lot of climbing ladders, as well as a lot of climbing ropes. And right here, I probably should kill that mouse, but I decided not to. Instead, I just decided to run. And, yeah, I need to use another up panel. Just wherever I can find it. And right here, we can just break this block and reveal some more, or just keep going in order to find some more keys. That's another door we're going to have to get to, but you will see. And here we get another life. Fortunately, though, this game is pretty generous with extra life near the end. Of course, with the way this game is set up, you are probably going to end up burning through lives like crazy in these last 10 stages or so. Just because this game is fairly difficult, and also it does take a lot of trial and error just to get through it. And the right here, I just need to find where I am in order to get more keys. And the biggest thing with getting the keys, as I've said before, since they're in hard to reach places, usually they're in places where you can either drop down, or you just have to make sure you know where everything is. And right here I almost get swarmed by a bunch of mice. This one's very easy to miss. Just use the pickaxe and the hammer in order to get to that one. Use the warp to go all the way to the other side. That's a pretty handy shortcut. And the last key is actually going to be up and to the right. And how we're just going to get there is to climb this ladder for a while. And there's the exit. The way to get there is just go right and then take the rope. And then just find the last one. Right here it does take a careful ladder maneuvering in order to drop down to get to the right one, because that exit door is surrounded by two fake floors, and you could end up falling to your death if that happens, or if you end up hitting those. Now for the last stage of this part, and that is going to be stage 25. Stage 25 is one where you do have to do a lot of exploring, as well as just getting away from everything that this game throws at you, because this is one of the tougher stages in the game, and as I've said before, this is probably the toughest 4 level stretch of the entire game. And what can make this stage pretty difficult is because there's a lot of exploration to do. You actually never know when you're going to end up popping up into an enemy, or when this foghorn leghorn decides to camp out in front of one of the doors with the keys, as you will see soon. Actually, I do need to get him away. Yeah, see, the thing is, that door has one of the keys, and that foghorn leghorn just decided to be a jerk and camp out in front of it. But fortunately, he does chase you if you're on the same, I guess, horizontal part of the screen as he is, compared to even if you are like one vertical pixel up. And here I just need to get out of here so I can drop down. Also, do make sure you do have those 2 keys before you drop down, otherwise the stage could get a little messy, because you're going to be running around just trying to find that last key, and it turns out you left it up there. That flame wasn't too hard to deal with. And well, the vultures really aren't that big a problem here. It's just when that vulture decides to get the slip on you and then corners me like that. So instead I gotta use one of my arrows. And that's actually been the reason I've been saving my weapons instead of like using them as much as I have, or I haven't been using them as much as most other players do, and that's normally because I just save them for emergencies. And right here you get shields. I mean, fortunately the shields in this game are pretty effective, and also they do have a long duration, so you can use them to your advantage pretty well. And see, right here it's just a lot of running up. And also freeze enemies, which is also a good thing. Fortunately, I did get that foghorn leghorn in the right spot, so I can just drop this 10-ton on him. And no big deal. And right here is where the part where you have to start doing the most exploring begins, and this is where you have to just keep taking pipes up, and you have to keep taking warps, and it's also pretty easy to get lost in this place too, because there's so much exploration you have to do. There's a lot of places where you can end up getting yourself painting yourself into a corner, and you can also get yourself into trouble when you're trying to go up pipes and you end up landing on top of an enemy, as has happened before. But yeah, as I've said before, this is the longest stretch in the game by far, because as I've said before in this part, I don't even die once, and this is a 27-minute part. And I did cut out like one chunk of backtracking, as you'll see. You'll be able to figure out which one it is. You guys are smart guys. Or if I have female viewers out there, you're smart women. Either way, you're probably smart people. Anyway, I just need to take this warp while I get off on a random tangent about who watches my videos. Not that I can figure that out anyway. Here I need to use the up panels to jump up and get some more stuff. Mainly Well, mainly just a bunch of arrows. The arrows are ones you actually want to use for emergencies instead, because there aren't really any cheaply placed enemies. But the biggest thing that's going to be an issue is if the enemy ends up trapping you, which can happen and which will be a pain if you end up not having any arrows left. Also, there is parts where you do have to backtrack, where you are going up pipes and you're going up doors just to get to one part to find keys, but then you actually have to go all the way back just to go back to this area in order to get more stuff. And yeah, that's one thing that is an issue with this stage, is that there is a ton of backtracking. And right here I just need to smash this block. I don't really know what I was waiting for. Might as well just kill him. Right here you are going to find more keys. And obviously, because there are 3 more I gotta get. And they decided to put the exit in the middle. So that getting to the exit's actually not the hard part, it's just finding all the stuff. That is actually going to be the hard part in this stage. And right here I actually should have gone up, or used the up panel, but I didn't, so I had to take the long way. There's just more exploring I need to do. And I could have easily landed on top of that Daffy, but fortunately he was in the right spot, for me at least. Now right here are 2 isolated doors. Fortunately they didn't place any like vultures or anything. That would have been really cruel of them. I mean, I have heard of the certain ROM hacks of this game, but I do need to look more into those. Then again, I'm probably not going to let's play any ROM hacks anytime soon. And for those of you wondering, yes, I've already played Kaizo Mario, and let's just say I'm never playing that again. But with that, we got to the last key, and we are going to be finished with stage 25. So join me next time as I finish this thing. See you then.